My name is Emily Whitney, and today I want to talk to you about why drug testing needs to be mandatory to receive welfare benefits. This is what roughly a $20 sack of methamphetamines would look like. This is what $20 worth of groceries would look like. This is what our welfare money is supposed to be used on. Over the last 10 years, I've worked with Valley Drug Testing, helping recovering addicts. A common story told amongst them is that they misuse their welfare benefits to purchase or buy drugs. I want to start with a couple of stories. First being a 10-month-old little boy who was the highest positive for methamphetamines I've ever seen. Second was a 2-month-old little boy who had several broken bones. It took his parents 3 days to get him to the hospital. He also tested positive for methamphetamines. Last is a 7-year-old little girl who had head lice. She had had lice for over a month, and she also tested positive for methamphetamines. So what do these stories have in common? All 3 children tested positive for drugs. All 3 of the parents tested positive for drugs. All 3 of the parents received welfare benefits. So why would these stories encourage drug testing? Alone, they don't. What does is that during the year-long recovery program I had with these parents, I learned that they often used welfare benefits to buy their drugs. In fact, it was their primary source of buying drugs. In 2014, I did a survey where I asked participants to answer a few questions about welfare, about drug use. Of the 50 participants, 27 of them were testing for problem-solving courts, 23 were testing for local businesses. Of the 50 participants, 32 of them had received welfare benefits, 19 of them had traded or sold welfare benefits for drugs. What I found most interesting, however, was that 100% of them believed that people were misusing welfare benefits to buy drugs. Before I continue, I want to say I do not believe that everybody who has welfare or who gets welfare is going to misuse them. In fact, it's not the case at all. The majority of them use them appropriately. The fact of the matter and what's at hand is that it does happen, and there are people out there that do misuse them. So agreeing to a drug test does not mean that you agree to it or that you like it or that you need it for you. But what it does do is say that you're willing to be a part of a solution to stop it from happening for those that do misuse it. So what are people doing to prevent it, and is our judicial system ignoring it? Yes. What are we doing to prevent this? The judicial system has repeatedly batted down the idea of welfare drug testing and have made it very clear that they do not care how that money is used. Are they turning a blind eye? Recently, Florida passed a state law requiring that it be mandatory to receive welfare benefits. It was initially passed by the majority of voters. However, the court squashed the law, saying that it was against our Fourth Amendment rights. So what is the Fourth Amendment, and why does it keep squashing these? It basically states that we have a constitutional right to not have an illegal search or seizure. Searching our bodies for drugs would be considered an illegal search. They say they can't do that without probable cause. If you further read into probable cause, it is stating that they can't do it in the event that it's going to lead to an arrest or a conviction. At no time do we say that if you fail a drug test while trying to receive welfare benefits, that you're going to have any sort of conviction. When is it okay to do drug testing? The Fourth Amendment, they say that it's against our Fourth Amendment right to ask people to do a drug test to receive welfare benefits. But it's okay when we require our soldiers to prove that they're clean, our truck drivers to prove that they're clean, our employees to prove that they're clean, and our athletes. So what's the difference between this form of drug testing and drug testing welfare recipients? What the judges say. In regards to the case against Florida State TANF drug testing, Middle District of Florida Judge Mary Scriven said there is nothing so special or immediate about the government's interest in ensuring that TANF recipients are drug-free so as to warrant the suspension of the Fourth Amendment. So what she is stating is that they don't care if the clients use drugs. They don't care how the money is spent. Besides debt, obviously, there are more important reasons as to why you should care. The TANF statements and why it's necessary is that it provides temporary financial assistance for pregnant women and families with 1 or more dependent children. TANF provides financial assistance to help pay for food, shelter, utilities, and expenses other than medical. TANF is only received by those who have children. It's so that they can make sure that their basic needs are met. So tell me this. Do you believe that we should care how this money is spent? Do you believe that we should just stand by and watch people who are receiving it buy drugs instead of milk for their children? You should be outraged that this is happening and that nobody is doing anything to stop it. Why I believe that Florida's law failed was that if they failed the drug test, they were told they weren't going to receive benefits for a year. That's unacceptable. There's children out there that still need those benefits. What they need to do instead is give them more support. When somebody fails a drug test, they need to put them in a recovery program. It not only encourages a stronger member of society, but a stronger member of the family. Think of it more as a contractual agreement. It is an agreement between you and the state saying that you will remain drug-free or attempt to become sober in order to receive welfare benefits. The government turning a blind eye. We should never turn a blind eye and say that there's nothing so special or immediate as to care what the people are doing with that money. If a parent fails a drug test, they should agree to counseling, and a child should always have the benefits that they need. We have an obligation to help the children, and you can do something to help too. We can prevent children from being in homes where drugs are happening, where they're going to repeat the cycle and often follow the footsteps of their parents, and instead try to encourage a better family unit. What can you do? You can write your state officials demanding that this be brought to the forefront of our issues, that they address that this is a problem and that we know that it is, that there's thousands and millions of dollars being spent on benefits and they need to be spent appropriately, and the children need to have somebody fighting for them. You can write your governors and your senators. Thank you for listening and have a good day.